I can't hear anybody. Can you guys hear me?
I can hear
Loud and
you.
clear.
Yes.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys. Getting this ball rolling here. Sorry, had a last minute call right before we started. All right, guys. Now I got to get rid of this echo. We got always something going on. All right. There we go. How's everybody doing today? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good evening.
Doing good, man. Good to see you.
Good, me too. Let's change this. All right. We are rolling. Everybody seeing the screen okay? Thumbs up?
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Yes.
All right, guys. Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin US BTC margin. As you can see, last night, this is when we were having that big drop down. We did wick all the way down to the bottom support line. This bottom, I mean, this bottom red line that I have here is just the very bottom of the overall downward trending channel, kind of like a bull flag that we've been talking about. This bottom green line down here is the 112. That was the previous high before we broke out to this new high right here. So that is technically, I'm going to change this color just so it's all matching. That is technically the bull flag. Now, as you can see, we've hit the bottom, we've hit the top. We came down to this green line. This green line was a resistance when we first were coming up. We broke through. It became somewhat of a resistance and support line over the last, I don't know, week. And we kept hitting the top, and then we would break through that green line and then retest it as resistance before breaking back through, retest it as support before breaking back through, retest it as resistance. But we kept, every time we broke through it, we would come down to this area here. And that didn't change. In fact, not only that, but every time we did come down to this area, it looks very similar. The whole structure looks very similar. So whether it's a W or an M doesn't really matter, as because what we're up against major support here. So I noticed some people talking about the M pattern or maybe even a W. Back here we had a W, and it did break to the upside, but I think that might have been coincidence because we were up against support here. Didn't really have much of a choice. I mean, it has a choice. Obviously, we could break to the downside, and we still could. But right now, it looks like a big M, which would be normally bearish, but it also has a W. So it just that's why you got to take some of these patterns with a grain of salt, especially depending on what time frame you're on. If you're on a really low time frame, you're going to see all kinds of things. Just like if you look up in the clouds, you might see Snoopy, you might see a camel, you might see an elephant, but what's really happening is your brain is taking what images that it recognizes and matching it in your mind to what it resembles the most, and then all of a sudden you see that thing. And so I think that happens a lot with charting as well. You might see the W here, you might see the M or the W, but the fact that it's up against support, we say that there's a 70% chance of a bull flag breaking to the upside, or a 70% chance of an M pattern breaking to the downside, or 70% chance of a W breaking to the upside. That leaves a 30% chance of it not doing that. And usually, when it doesn't do what they're known for doing, it's usually because it's either up against resistance or bouncing on support. I think we do have further support way down here at the 112 that we have not retested yet. So it is possible going into the weekend that we continue this downward trending channel, and possibly even get down to where we are touching 112 before we bounce up. This is the 112 structure right here. This was the previous bullish flag, very similar to what's going on here, almost identical. And when we broke out, we basically went up exactly to that level. The reason why I have the flag pull from here and not from down here is because this was the most recent resistance level right here, right before it broke out. And we did retest that right here before we broke out. So good chance of us coming down. I mean, this could go on like this for the rest of the weekend. We could even make it to the top again before coming back down. So what could happen is it could look like this. I mean, we could just do this and then wick down and that'll be it. And then we're back up and we're finally climbing out, right? That could happen. Just going to keep bringing all this forward. Or, I mean, we could go all the way back up to the top, do it one more time, back to the bottom. And by the time it gets back down here, it's right at the 112. And then it just bounces out, stays in the channel, and then comes up here and breaks out. That's possible too. So that's kind of a wait and see. But as you can see, from here, which May 22nd to the time it broke out was July 9th. So 6 weeks going this way, all the way down, lower lows, lower lows. And so right now we are at July 13th. And the current price we're at is August 1st. So we're only 2 weeks in. So we could do this for any number of 2 to 3 more weeks before we finally break out. That doesn't mean it's going to do the same thing that it did here, but that could happen. Back here, when we look at the falling wedge that happened before we broke out here, another very similar bullish flag. Not necessarily have that in my spot, but same thing. We had previous resistance here, at the 73.8, and we retested it here before we broke out. We went all the way up to 108, double topped at 109, trended down for, I don't know, from January 20th all the way to April 7th. So that took a while. And we did get all the way down to 74.5, which was basically retesting this previous resistance as support first. So as I know I've gone over this before many times. It happened here as well, where we had a nice little bull flag. Again, before that happened, we come down to the center line. Right here, boom, we break out. But before we broke out, before we climbed up there, we wicked way down to here. And that was the retest of the previous resistance and support. So we can see this repeating over and over and over again. Here, here, here. And right where we're at now, that's probably what's going to happen. And we don't have far to go for that to happen. And the same thing will happen probably up here. Once it does finally break out, consolidate. It doesn't just go on forever, though. There will be a time when a bull flag breaks to the downside and the top is in. I just don't know when that will be yet. But if we go back and look at previous all-time high, where we had a very similar situation. We had bull breakout, bull flag breakout, kind of a bull flag breakout, bull flag breakout, and what would probably appear to be one starting here. I am on the daily, so it's hard to see. Didn't get any higher, and then we had a lower high. It was a triple, basically a head and shoulders, and then we dropped big time, down like 60%, all the way to 29,000 from 65,000. Reattempted bull flag breakout, but just double topped it, never made it any higher than the previous high. And this could have been considered a bull flag too, that just broke to the downside, and that was the beginning of the bear market. So that's why it's always better to wait for the breakouts. We can assume that it's going to break to the upside because bull flags generally do, but again, there is that 30% of the time when they don't. Kind of like musical chairs sometimes, you sit down, there's lots of chairs. The odds are you're going to find a chair when the music stops, but as it gets down to 2 chairs and 2 people, someone's going to be without a chair. Let's see here. I notice in the chat, let's go into the Crypto Renegades chat. In between our, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I had a quick question if it was maybe possible or if it was even worth it to analyze previous August and September timeframes for Bitcoin.
Yeah. I actually did that the other day. August is historically, let's go to the monthly time frame over here on TradingView. In fact, I even have it circled still. Right here is August of 2021. This is August of 2022, and strangely enough, we were in a bear market, but we did have a big pump up from when this candle closed in July. August pumped all the way up to 25K from 18K, but that was still, we were still in bearish mode there. Right here, August of 2023, right before a big pump to the upside. And then we have August of 2024, right before a big pump to the upside. And we are currently just going into August right now. That's this candle. And so what is this telling us? Generally speaking, looking back throughout history, August is usually a setup for a big pump to the upside.
So most likely bullish August, and then towards the end, closer to September, it'd be like more of a correction.
I would say possibly bearish August. First part of August, and then pumping out August, September, October. The next 3 months could be, this could be the next parabolic or the last parabolic move to the upside. When I look at, like, these candles are August candles, the ones I've circled, they're all red. But what comes after them is an explosion out of that dump. So we do have a pump, a little bit of a consolidation dump into August, pump out, consolidation into August, pump out, consolidation into, well, this one more is bringing us to August right now. Yep. So we could see that this first couple of weeks could be the big, like, consolidation down a little bit, but down to where? I would say 112. I wouldn't say it's going to be drastic. You can see some of them wicked down pretty high. In fact, this one wicked all the way down to the upward trending support. So did this one. This one actually wicked below it. That would be, if that happened here, guys, and we had this big dump in August, that could bring us down into the 90s. And that would be a pretty damn good entry for a pump back up to a parabolic move to the upside. Because that could shoot us from, let's just say it did that, and it came down to 96, all the way back up to somewhere here in the 130, 140 zone. That would be, and that would just be September. Then you got October. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to, because if we go back here, let's just go back to even further. 2020, this was August. We actually dumped a little bit in September before the big move. In 2019, this was August. It was in bear market territory. So obviously it's not everyone, but as you can see, going in from July to August, we did have a big pump up first before coming back down. So even in the bear markets, August pumped, but in the bull markets, August was the dip before the big pump. So it's not exact science, but the correlation is that if you look, every one of these August circles here are right after a big pump to the upside where there's consolidation. Big pump to the upside, consolidation. Big pump to the upside. We do have consolidation, but we already had a pump to the upside. We could be consolidating here in August 1st before we move more up to the upside. In addition to that, when I look at this overall structure, you can see obviously we have upward trending support going all the way back to the bear market bottom here at 15.5, all the way up to the current price. And we've touched it several times. Boom, 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 boom. And here we haven't touched it yet here, but we have touched the top. We've hit the top, the top, the top, the top. And not one time yet have we broken through the top. But generally speaking, and let me get rid of some of this other stuff here. Generally speaking, the top, once you hit the top after a big push, after a big breakout of a falling wedge like this, by the way, this was from 74K. We hit the low here at 74.5 and pumped all the way up to 123. First, we pumped up to 112. Then we broke out again and went to 123. So that is quite a big move to the upside already. And we still didn't break out of the top. So let's just look at that. That's about a 64% pump to the upside. Generally, that is followed by a consolidation or dump to the downside. Historically, every single time. Big pump, consolidation, 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 pump, consolidation. So don't expect a pump, then a pump, then a pump, then a pump. Well, let's look at market cipher down here. I'm on the monthly time frame. There was a green candle here. I mean, a dot here, but that was when we broke out of this downward trending falling wedge. And that was, we got a month left, 1 month and 0 days left before this update. So let's go down to the weekly. On the weekly time frame, we have a red dot, guys, right now. That's bearish. We have a big wave, a big crest right here, reaching above this line right here. Generally speaking, it can get higher, it can get up to here, but if we have money flow, outflow coming down, as you can see, this green is coming down. This flat line right here, you can see over here, it says 0, 0. That's the 0 line. Once we go across that, then it looks like this, where we have the green coming down, and once it crosses 0 line, it's outflow. It's money going out. Green dot, money going out, dump. Right here, look at the price, right after that red dot, down, 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 down. In fact, let's go back to the charts because I might still be in a long position.
Echo, when you're done with that, can you look at the 10-minute on Market Cipher? It's got a huge buy signal, but that could be for a little short blip.
That's what it is. This is Bitcoin on the 10-minute time frame. As you can see, we did hit the bottom here and pump up, but we are consolidating in what could be looked at as a potential bear flag also. But keep in mind, again, it's up against support. So bear flags, bull flags up against resistance, bear flags up against support. Sometimes don't do what we think they're going to do. And however, with the signal that I just saw on Market Cipher, let's go back and look at this. I am up because I don't know. Let me refresh here and see. Did I enter BTC USD on coin margin? I don't know why it's not showing on the chart. Let me just refresh. There it is. I think that's the same I was in. What was my signal in the signal channel? I can't remember. Did I have a signal recently? Oh, that might have been one I did on the live call yesterday. Entry 19448. We're definitely lower than that, right? So 115. So I think I got taken out of that one. Or I moved the stop. I can't remember what happened on that one, but this might have been from last night on the webinar. And but I might be considering reversing this here soon, guys, because the reason why is because of this. This is a brand new dot on the crest, brand new as of like right now on the weekly. Now there's 2 days left on the weekly, but if we go down to the daily, we do have money flowing out. Let's just look at this. Obviously, we've been in this bullish flag, downward trending channel for a while. We see major flow going out, 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 another red dot here, and money flow going to the downside right here as we speak. This is usually bearish because it doesn't curve or stop until this happens, especially when we're down here below the zero. Let's go down to the hourly. On the hourly, it looks like we got money flow coming up. So don't be confused by this, guys. On the lower time frames, on the higher time frames rather, you're seeing a bigger picture. On the lower time frames, you could see a pump to the upside, like on the 10-minute, the 15-minute, the hourly, like this one right here. We had a green dot. This was a few hours ago. We did have a green dot, and I'll show you where that was on the price. Right here. And it's still kind of trending up a little bit. We do have like an upward trending channel here, but this could be bearish flag territory. And not only that, guys, but if you haven't noticed, we have not broken back above this green line yet, which was major support and resistance. A couple times. This one we broke below it, hit the red line, hit resistance, came back down, and then broke through and held it as support. See right here, we broke through and support, and then bounced. Here we come down, support, break through, resistance, drop, come all the way back up, resistance, try it again, resistance, come all the way to the bottom, wick through. Let me get rid of this. We wick through, came all the way back up, resistance, drop straight back down to the bottom, support, came all the way back up, resistance. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 times we hit that so far, and we couldn't get through. This time we drop again, but we come halfway down, and now it's coming back up. So it needs to get above that green line. It needs to get above that resistance level. And it seems like many other indicators are showing it as being weakness, obviously, and some bearishness happening. Let's go back. Let's go even lower to the 10-minute. So as you can see, money flow coming in on the 10-minute. And consequently, you can see the little move to the upside here. But where's it going to? Doesn't look like it looks like we have some resistance, which is basically the green line that I was just showing you on the other chart. And it's having a hard time getting above that. If we scrunch all this together, this could be the bear flag I was just talking about. But again, we are up against support here. So we do have somewhat of a price range. I would say I would just take this and make it a parallel channel right about from here to there. It's pretty much a price range. This whole thing is a price range. Same with the top. We have this high up here. We're in the channel, but as you can see, it did wick higher at one point. It's gotten through it a little bit, So even when this comes up, even when this does get back up here and wicks through this, it would need to break that also. And we'll worry about that when that time comes. But right now, looking at this, if I go and look at the entire, more accurate, by the way, on the higher time frames, which is market cipher. On scalping, yes, 10-minute time frame scalp. I'm going to just make a decision here. I'm a little profit right here, but what I'm going to do is I am going to reverse this just temporarily for the time being. If you want to take that trade, you can. It is short at, it's not really a signal, but 115.390. Several reasons why. One, we did hit resistance multiple times here, and we also have lower highs happening. So it could only come down to here and bounce again, but if I go back to market cipher and I go up a little higher on the daily and the weekly, and everything is looking a little bit bearish. So this is concerning here on the daily. We have a very sharp money drop, money flow out. But if we go back, I mean, it is the whole channel that we're in right now, obviously. But even though we are at the lowest point of this, right, about here, right, and bouncing on this and coming up, we still see a red dot and money flow going out. So what could that mean? That could mean that doesn't mean that it's just going to drop straight from here out of this channel, but it could mean that we still continue to have some lower lows in this channel. This channel could just continue. A little bit further until we hit the 112 down here. We don't really have far to go there. So if you really want to be on the safe side, then you just stay out until one of two things happen. We either bounce at the major support, which would be 112, or we break out of the major resistance up here somewhere and hold that as support. So you either wait for the bounce at 112 or the breakout up here, because once we get above all of these lower highs, high, lower high, lower high, lower high, and actually hold it as support, and we don't just do the same thing we did here where we wick up and then wick right back down, wick up, wick right back down. That's what happened here, here, here. But if we get above it and hold it as support, that is an indication that this trend, this downward trending channel is over. The trend is your friend until the end. That would be the end of that trend. So that takes patience and discipline, guys, and it's easier said. I even struggle with it sometimes myself because I see, like I just did. I just reversed the trade. You know, a lot of times I just get in and out. I like to scalp. I like to just, while I'm waiting for the big move, sometimes I'm just, you know, making nickels and dimes, trying to just stay busy. But that is unnecessary work. I will be first to tell you that is all unnecessary. It is easier just to wait. I mean, maybe not mentally, but physically and emotionally and financially, easier just to wait for the proper trade setups. I will tell you this, the big players, the guys that have hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars in the market, they're not scalping on these inside these channels. They're not getting in and out, in and out, in and out. What they're doing is they're waiting for the big breakouts. They're waiting for the proper trade setups and the major moves. Because they know if we have a big dump down, let's just say all the way to I don't know, let's say it dumps all the way to this line right here at 100K. They know that that is a much bigger move for them. If they got $1 million in the market and they go long with 10x leverage, they're trading with 10 million and this pops all the way back up from 100K. Let's just say it drops down to 100K and they go long and they ride it back up just to 130, the new high right up there. That's a 25% move to the upside. They got $1 million with 10x leverage. Do the math. That's 25% move to the upside. $1 million in margin. 250 grand times 10x leverage. 2.5 million on one move. Why do they care about all this little stuff? They don't. They would rather stay out of the market until there's a big move. And I'm sure you guys all want to get to that level too, to where you just trade once or twice, maybe 3 or 4 times a year, rather than once or twice or 3 or 4 times a day. Maybe once a month or every when there's big moves like this one. They might stay out of this whole falling wedge until the breakout. As soon as it retests here, they go long and they ride this pump up. And then once it gets up to the top of this line, they just stay out and wait. They're not concerned. And this is part of what you're learning here, guys. It's like, yes, we're teaching you how to get in and out. Yes, there's lots of opportunities every day. Yes, the wings wall is filled with trades every single day from people making hundreds of percentage gains because they're over here looking for opportunities. over here because there's hundreds of cryptos that you can trade in here. And there's all kinds of stuff happening all the time. Here's something interesting. Go to USDT and you see all the red here. In the last 24 hours, red, red, red. Almost everything is correlating with Bitcoin. Scroll, 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 red, 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 red. Until you see a green. One. Green. One. Three. Two. This is the third one. Fourth one. Very few greens, right? What does that mean? Those are non-correlating cryptos doing something. Look at this one. Let's look at it. FHE. Why is it pumping? Look at this. Everything's going down and this thing's climbing like a mountain goat. Look at this. Let's get a parallel channel here. Let's draw a support line all the way up. Nice. Nice upward trending channel here. Yeah. I mean, some things just go against the grain and there's a reason for it. I don't know what the reason is for this one. I don't know anything about FHE, but this is why you're seeing in the signal channel, if you go into the wins wall, people posting ridiculous gains on coins I've never even heard of. Meme. Willem, man, you're killing it. Look at this. 428% on ETH, 694% on meme, 350% on Doge, another 863 on meme. I don't know if that's the same same entry or not. Crazy gains. But yeah, a lot of these are launch token, Pengu, Ina. I'm not giving signals on these guys, but people learn how to do this and then they just go and find markets that are moving, and that's what we want to get you to. But if you want to play it safe and really just be like a ninja or what, you know, a surgeon that is using a scalpel, or I used to give the analogy of basically a lion in the Serengeti waiting for the gazelles to run by. As soon as the herd of gazelles starts going by, or the wildebeest, they don't, if you ever watch these discovery channels, they don't just run out and get trampled by 1,000 wildebeest. They sit in the tall grass and they wait for the exact perfect moment to strike. And what are they waiting for? They're waiting for the tired, the weak, the elderly, the babies, the ones that are just away from their mothers, the ones that are not surrounded by the big bulls. And then they pounce. I know it's sad. I know it's sad to think of. It's sad to watch, but this is nature. But there's a reason why they're in survival mode. They know exactly what they're doing. They know how to do it. They're precise. They don't have energy to waste. They're hot. They're tired. They know exactly what they're doing. So that's a very similar way to what happens when you get really efficient and proficient at this. You become a master. You're not running around foolish like the kids anymore. You wait silently for the opportunities and you pounce exactly when you see them, and you're more precise and you have more wins because you're trading a lot less and you're only trading the real good setups, the ones that are more likely to do what you want them to do. This does look like it is continuing up, but what you have to do is when you see this, you have to then zoom out and say, well, where is it going? Okay. Well, let's just look here on the 10-minute time frame. I can clearly see what was some kind of support here, right? I'm just going to put that line there for the time being. Actually, it's probably more like this, right? Perfect support. And guess where we're hitting right now? Well, so if you go long right now on this, just because it's climbing, you might have just got in at the worst possible time, because it might just come up and hit the support right here. And that's it. It breaks this upward trend, falls out, comes back down. Obviously, if you would have got in on this big dump down as it's climbing up and making a higher high, that would have been the best entry, but too late for that. And then also what I notice here is we do have this whole thing could be also looked at as a sideways channel that it was in prior to falling out. Yeah, this thing This thing is just going major sideways for a long time. So we were above it, bounced, broke below, came down, hit into this channel, wick down to it a couple times. Look at that. Just coming back up to it right now. Yes, it can break through back into the channel. That's probably what it might do as well. So this could be an opportunity to get back into that channel. We could hit resistance first before it breaks back in, but as you can see, it didn't really here when it broke. Well, it did. When it broke out, it hit as support and then broke through. Now it's coming back up. Resistance, 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 resistance. It could just wind into this apex here and break through. And then we could see a nice little pop back up to this top level. If it doesn't if it doesn't break to the downside, here's what I would do, guys. If you're going to play with this one, FHE, draw a support line. And then let me get rid of this. You have support, upward trending support, and horizontal resistance. That is an apex, and we're winding into it. The breakout is imminent. It's either going to break to the upside or back down. One or the other. That's it. No real other options here. But that's one way to find coins that are not correlating with Bitcoin. Just scroll and look for greens when everything's red, or scroll and look for red when everything's green. There's another one, Pippin. It's pumping. Pippin's pumping for some reason. But where's it pumping to? We do have resistance right here, and it's hitting it right now. And it already fell from that. That's why I stick to Bitcoin and XRP and Ethereum. I just like the majors. They may not be as exciting, but they're still moving 1 to 5% a day. They still have their big wild swings, but I would prefer to accumulate those rather than Pippin or any of these other ones that I've never heard of before that really have no intrinsic, utilitarian utility or purpose for their existence. And I think that over time, my personal opinion is over time that most of these ridiculous cryptos and tokens that have no purpose, especially the meme tokens, will eventually go away. They might be regulated out of existence. I don't know that for sure. There could always be the collectors and the Dogecoin fans and the armies of whatever, the people that are really into some of these Shiba Inu crew that collects, buys, holds, and holds forever, and they're fans forever. But I will be not paying attention to that stuff myself. I do have several million Shiba Inu, just in case the thing goes to $1, but it certainly doesn't take a big investment to do that. So this is Ethereum. We're in a sideways trending channel. We did have an upward trend here. We broke to the downside, retested, came to the bottom. We had another upward trend here. We broke to the downside, we retested, and we're coming to the bottom. I think we got a little ways to go to hit the bottom. I think when Ethereum hits 35, 33, Bitcoin might be at 112. That would be a good entry for Ethereum, good entry for Bitcoin. And let's go look at XRP.
Nick, I want to ask a very dumb question. I don't know if you don't mind.
Next time, just I have a question, because I definitely don't mind. I definitely don't mind questions, but I don't want dumb questions.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, sure. I'm still going through the training as a new student, and basically, I see you send signals. By the time I log into Discord, is already like the signals are already sent. So, do you have any particular time range someone can look at for those signals or something like that?
What you do is you come into the signal channel right here, click this little edit channel button here, turn on, go up to, well, I'm sorry, hold on one second, let me go back. How did I even get here? Hold on one second. So you come up to notifications up here, the little bell. Not in that channel specifically, but just the bell. And you turn on notifications
All messages.
on the signal channel. Notifications, all messages.
Okay.
Yes. The reason why mine's not on is because I'm the one giving them. I don't need to be notified when I give a signal. But you should.
Okay, I'll just do that right away.
And what will happen is that, and by the way, some of you are like, well, I have my notifications off because I don't really want to be notified every time someone leaves a message in the main chat. Correct. Turn off notifications for the main chat. If you don't want to be, you don't need to be constantly hearing dings on your phone or anything every time someone posts in here, because there's a lot of stuff going on in here, right? But unless you want to. But what you could do on the trade chat is turn on notifications only if you're personally mentioned. Right here. If someone actually tags you, then you want to be notified, right? And then on the signals channel, you turn on all notifications and you'll get a message on your phone. You have the app on your phone also, Discord?
Yes, I do. I do.
Yeah. And so you'll get a ding, you'll get a notification whenever there's a signal.
Correct. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The last class I attended was, I think, last Friday, because I've been sick this whole of this week. And I know you mentioned something about elements and tax issues, and I requested for a DM. I sent you a DM, and I don't know if you got back. I don't think you got back to me on that. So that's just second point. So thank you.
I got hundreds of DMs, guys. It's hard to keep up sometimes.
Gospel.
What's your, do you have the same name inside of Discord?
Yes, GP. Yeah.
Let me just, oh, there you are.
Yeah, that's it.
I did respond to you, but oh, you were asking for tax strategies. I did respond. So I try to respond as quickly as I can, guys, but what I would recommend you do, if you have anything urgent that you need to ask me, ask it in the main chat and just tag me, like at Nico. I have a question for you. Or at Nico, I sent you a DM. Because I'm in the main chat, I notice things quicker and faster. And also on these live calls, it's right now is a great time to ask me a question because I'm right here right now. Don't wait till after this call is over and then go send me a DM because I might not look at that for hours.
All right, because you requested for a DM, that was why I did that. So that's
yes.
Yeah,
no problem. And as far as the tax guy, I know a lot of you have asked me for my tax strategist referral. I'm putting it together in a shareable format so that he's aware of it. I'm waiting for him to give me the information the way he wants me to share it to you, so that he can track it, so he knows you guys are coming from us. And so just give me, just bear with me on that. Go ahead and send me the DM, but as soon as I have it available, I'll send it to everybody.
Thank you.
Yes. Aaron says, what is a good limit order buy for a long on XRP right now? Right now. Bill was responding to somebody. I'm not sure if he was responding to you, but definitely get on onboarding for those of you who are new, guys. Let's go.
That was for our new gentleman that did not know how to turn on the alerts. That's definitely
Oh,
something.
yeah. GG. I'm just call you Gigi. Get on onboarding too. I know you're not exactly new, but get on onboarding, which is today after this call. If you need help turning on your alerts and your notifications. So here we are on XRP. Aaron asked, what is a good limit order buy for long on XRP? You know, that's a good question because XRP broke the upward trending support. And it broke it here, this yellow line. And we had resistance, support, 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 upward trending. We did not make a higher high after touching it here. We did not come up and make a higher high. In fact, we came down and hit support again, broke below resistance, 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 and then dropped. And now we're creating lower lows and lower highs so far in a downward trending channel. So where is it going? Where would be a good entry point to go long? I would say this white line right here is the closest next major support level coming down, which was previous resistance right here at $2.86. And I would say anywhere in this zone, which it is currently in, between the $2 and the $3, the $2.80 and the $3 zone right here that it's currently in is a major support and resistance area. It's this whole area right here, and we're currently kind of in it. Let me get rid of some of this other stuff because I know it can get a little wacky with all my lines. This right here, though, this big pump to an all-time high, guys and gals. By the way, when I say guys, I mean everybody. I'm not talking to just guys. But from this top right here to this fall right here, which we're still kind of hitting as support, which is this whole level, this whole area, that was a 20% drop. That was a 20% pullback. 19.44. And if we go to the current low right here, it's exactly 21%. I don't think it's going to go much more than that, to be honest with you. So I would say $2.85, $2.86 would be a good limit order to buy long on XRP with a stop loss, probably not too far under that, probably 280. Just to be on the safe side, because we could technically we could come all the way down to 266, which was the bottom of this support. We had resistance, resistance, we had support, 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 resistance, resistance, breakout, support, support, and then we climbed. But if we break this 286, then yeah, the next one down would be 265. So if you do a limit order here at 286 to go long on this bounce, and it continues to drop, what you could do is dollar cost average here, and then once it hits here, go long again, or add contracts down here, and that would bring your entry. So in other words, if you went long with 100 contracts right here, and it dropped down to here, and you added as soon as it hit here and bounced, you added another 100 contracts, your entry that was here will move 50% of the way down to here. 100 contracts here, 100 contracts here. This will move exactly 50%. That's your new entry. So it won't be long before you're back in profit on this bounce. Does that make sense? But that would require you to not have a close stop loss here. You would put the stop loss down here under like $2.60. And you got to be willing to go a little negative sometimes on these kinds of, especially on limit orders, conditional orders, especially because this is the reason why I don't do them. You can do them, they do work, and that's the strategy. But I don't do them because I wait for the bounce. I will wait to make sure it bounces here, and then I'll go long once I start to see a breakout or a strong support. But if it just falls through this, then I don't want to go long here. I'm going to wait for it to come down to here, and then I'll go long down here. So I just wait, maybe longer than I should sometimes. But that's that's sometimes what it takes. And that's what we were talking about earlier. Some of the big players, they're not really antsy to get into trades. They're waiting for perfect setups. There's all kinds of setups every day. There's all kinds of scalping opportunities every day, in and out, in and out. In fact, I can't even give you signals fast enough, guys, for that, because sometimes I'm typing the signal up. By the time I type this whole thing up right here, if by the time I would type this up, it's too late. It's already moved. It's already moved 20 points or 10 points on some of these scalps that are moving very fast. So I don't even give the really, really short scalp signals because you won't get the same entry as me. You might get a better entry. It might drop really fast and then I go short and then it comes up first before it drops. But it's really hard to give signals on real short-term scalps. And that's why sometimes you will see me do it. And I will put a note saying specifically, notice or note, this is a short-term scalp, in and out. If you don't have the the nerves for it, stay out, wait for a better entry. I've said it just like that before. I'm basically warning, note, could still be some weekend dips. If it's something that I'm feeling a little bit iffy on, I'll put a note on it. Or I'll put a warning. This is I'll find one specifically just to show you what I mean for those of you who are new, but I know that you guys have been in here for a long time. You know what I'm talking about. I will give the signal, but I'll do it with a disclaimer because it's not for everybody. You have to be willing to take the risk and you have to be willing to realize that it may not do what I'm hoping it does, but I'm going to go for it anyway. I'm not telling you to do it, but this is what I'm doing. Because a lot of you have said many times, Nico, I don't care if it's risky. Just tell us what you're doing. Give us the opportunity to decide whether we want to do it or not. Okay. But I'm still going to put the disclaimer in there because I don't want you to come back to me and say, man, I got stopped out. I got wrecked on that one. That sucked. Well, I shouldn't have told you then, I guess, right? So there's a couple things going on here, guys. Chad and I have discussed this. I would prefer to be very, very safe. I would prefer to only teach how to get the really big moves. I would prefer to just be the nice, safe setups where we know for sure, pretty much with almost 100% accuracy, that it's going to do what we think it's going to do. Now, and I'm sure a lot of you want those signals, but those come few and far between. Those are sitting on your hands longer, waiting for these proper trade setups, but they're almost guaranteed, almost for sure that they're going to do what we want, right? Those are awesome. I love those. And we're going to give those signals regardless. But if we just gave those signals, you'd be sitting on your hands a long time. You'd be like, hey, where's the signals at? And so in between that, we want to teach you how to trade also. So we want to give some scalping signals. We want to give some short-term swings and stuff like that. And some of those just don't work out as good because the market's volatile or because in the big game of things or the big picture, it's still going where we think it's going. But in the short term, we can take advantage. Like in other words, if we think a Bitcoin's going to 130, why aren't we just waiting? Why aren't you just long waiting for that to happen? Well, because before it goes to 130, it could drop back down to 80, 90,000. And we want to take advantage of that, right? But if you know it's going to 130, why not just stay long and wait? Because if it drops to 95 before it goes to 30, you're going to get liquidated. You're going to get your stop loss hit. So what you do instead is you wait. You don't go long right now, just wanting to wait for the big move to the upside, is you wait for the big pullback first. If we just had a big pullback, like on XRP where it already fell 20%, it's probably not going to drop much further before it finally climbs back up. But the fact that it has not bounced yet and shot up means it may not be a bottom yet. So what I mean by that is, generally speaking, guys, when we are at the bottom, it doesn't stick around for long to give you much of a chance to catch it. And when it's sticking around for a long time, like it is right now, it came down and hit this, and it's still right in this zone. It didn't shoot way up. It didn't climb out quickly, which means to me that it's not the bottom yet. So wait a little longer. It will get lower. Because when it truly is the bottom, it doesn't stick around long to give you much of a chance to catch it. You better be watching. You better be paying attention. And usually it would look like this. I'll show you what I mean. Find a good example. whenever we have a real big drop, and it really is a bottom. Like this right here, this giant wick down. Look at this. I mean, it fell from 278 all the way down to 178. That's $1. That's a 30% drop right there. If you didn't go long right here on this drop, boom, right here. If you didn't go long right here, you are not going to catch it. That thing sucked right back up in a flash. However, if you did go long down here, then you just get out up here or anywhere up here because it's higher than your entry. But if you waited till it pulled back up here and then went short, or you waited for it to do this and then starts to drop, and then you went short here because you think it's coming down now, and it pulls up on you and you go negative. So this is the psychological game, the warfare. That's why people throw their hands up in the air and quit, because they're chasing the trades and they're not understanding the timing issue and the psychology of it all. And sometimes you probably heard it said before, where right when you're about to go, like, let's say you see this thing right here and it just drops straight down. Your first instinct is that, oh my God, it's going down, I'm going to go short. That's your first instinct because it's dropping. You want to do what it's doing. But you should do the opposite, because whenever something drops that fast, there's usually a bounce. I mean, you can drop anything from almost any height and it will bounce. So you got to be counterintuitive sometimes. It's dropping, yes, but plan on it going up. Don't try to catch a falling knife. In other words, this is a falling knife. You try to catch it somewhere in here and go short, and it slices you on the way back up. Same with the top. I prefer, on a downward trending channel like this, I prefer to short tops than I do long the bottoms. The bottom, you can go long every time it hits the bottom, but since the bottom is the floor and the top is the ceiling and the ceiling is downward trending, I prefer to wait for it to hit the top and then short the top. Boom. Close it out. Goes back up, hits the top, short the top. Boom. Close it out. Goes back up to the top, short the top. Boom. Close it out when it hits the bottom. Okay. Less trades maybe, but more for sure trades. When do you not do it? Once it gets to the top, I would have probably shorted this top right here, but I would have had a tight stop loss above it in case I'm wrong, because I'm expecting it to come back down. But once it shoots out of there, you just reverse your position. So, or you wait to make sure that it's coming down, but you shorting the tops is actually safer than longing the bottoms. But this just takes a little time. And I mean, we were in this downward trending apex for a while in Ethereum from January 16th all the way to July 8th. 7 months. And so how many times was it at the top? 1, 2, 2 months apart. 2 more months apart. So you got to wait sometimes for the great opportunities. But if you make 10 grand on this one, 10 grand on this one, 10 grand on this one, instead of a couple hundred here, oh, I got stopped out here, oh, I got this, that. So basically what I'm trying to tell you guys, even though I do the short scalps, it's still better to wait. If you can just become patient, learn the skill, and sit on your hands, those opportunities are still going to come. You'll still make more money. You just won't be trading as often. And I think it's safe to say that most of you would rather work less or trade less and make more. But I know that there are some of you that don't. Some of you actually want the action. You want to constantly trade. You want to be scalping every day. I do know that for a fact because I've talked to some of you that said that. Some of you just love the action. TJ was that way. TJ loved the action. TJ made probably the most money of anybody in this group so far. And he was a scalper.
Yeah, he reached out to me last night. He's going to make a couple videos for us, Nico.
Oh, good. And me, when I went to Online Trading Academy, guys, when I went to OTA to learn how to trade the stock market, the people that I was really looking at, the people who I thought, the people who actually were making the most money, $5-6 million in their account, making $100,000 a day plus easily, like it's nothing, we're scalping. So I thought that's what I wanted. I liked the action. I thought it was cool. And I did it. I did well with it. It's just not for everybody's personality. Not everybody can handle that nail biting, action. So you got to find out what's good for you. And TJ did eventually evolve out of that, right? From what I understand.
Yeah, he's strictly a trend line trader now, but he's going to make a couple of videos that show how he's doing it so that folks have a good idea of what to do now. And he's a little worried about folks following his old scalping methods because it's kind of hard to follow. I get it.
Yep. It's hard to follow, and he was hard to explain it.
Yeah, he's a savant for sure. So
Yeah.
trendline trading is definitely easier. He enjoys it more. He's making money. He's traveling. He's giving US dollar tether away, buying his grandson a truck. But he's going to make a couple of videos for us. Like I said, he just reached out to me last night.
Good. Reach out to him and let him know that I want to interview him if he's open for it.
All right.
So with that being said, and I see a lot of people in the comments, yeah, I want less stress. Son Evil says, I was biting my nails when you said that. Yeah, guys, listen, don't get me wrong. It's exciting and it's fun. It's fast action. It's adrenaline and all that stuff. And you can make a lot of money, but it's a roller coaster, right? And eventually it does wear on you, especially when you've made some good money, because the more money you make, the less risk you want to take. In the beginning, guys, when you have $500 and you want to turn that into 5,000 or 10,000, you are willing to risk it. And you're willing to, bet the farm. You're willing to go with much higher risk. But once you get tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands in your account, you want very precise, very low risk trades because you worked hard for that money. It took you a while to accumulate it. You do not want to risk it. You do not want to throw it away. You want wealth preservation. You want to preserve what you have. And it's not just about making winning trades. It's also about not having losing trades. It's about not losing any. All right. So let's all kind of have that mindset. I mean, I would prefer that. I personally would prefer to evolve even my coaching and my training to that level, because I would rather have a group full of people that are disciplined and sitting on their hands and waiting for the better trade setups than people begging me, Nico, can you just give me a bunch of signals? When's the next? Should I go long? Should I go short? That's amateurish, first of all. But I do understand the sentiment. I do understand the questions because I was that way. But just because you want to get in the market, just because you want to take a trade doesn't mean that there is a trade setup. Doesn't mean that the market is just going to say, yeah, okay, or Nico or Chad or Bill or anybody's going to say, all right, well, since you want to trade so bad here, go long on this one. That's not how it works. I only want to give trades. I can speak for myself. I only want to give trade setups when I know that you have a much higher chance of winning on that trade. You're going to see, sometimes I share my screen and you're going to see I'm in a trade and you're going to be like, hey, Nico, I didn't see that signal. You're in a trade right now. Yeah, because that was very risky. And a lot of times I'm negative until it goes positive, and I don't want you guys to be in that position. Let's go back to Bitcoin right now. You remember what I said when I reversed my position and I asked you guys if you wanted to do it. I mean, I'm up $300 on that right now just from doing that. So, I mean, when you know what you're doing, kind of, you can make these decisions. I was long and I was in the green on the long, but I just reversed it and I'm up 10% on the short now. But I have $2,700 margin on this at 19x leverage. So I'm trading with 52,000 contracts. But this could be, I mean, we could be coming into, let me just see if I have these lines in the right spot right now. I mean, it is possible that we could just be bouncing on this floor, on this really lower floor right now. But, guys, I do think that going into the weekend here, we could see some 113 action. That's coming up quickly here. We're at 114.8 right now. And we could see some 112 action, which was the previous all-time high for a while before we broke out. That's this one right here. If I bring that over, you'll see. And we hit it once here before breaking out. We wicked up to it, and then we consolidated and then popped right through it, but we never retested it once we broke through. So that's a major resistance level that we never retested as support. We had a little tiny consolidation up here, tiny little bull flag here at 113. Broke through that, never retested. Had another consolidation right here, broke up, and we just came through this. We did retest that. I'll just draw a line there to show you. We hit it here as support, bounced, and then here we hit it and went through. Went through and retested it as resistance. Bounced, went through, bounced, went through, resistance. Went through, bounced, went through, went through, went through, went through, went through. That's support and resistance uncertainty going on there. But the overall trend is down. That's what it's doing right now. I'm up 350 on this little short reversal. And, you know, this could be like, I mean, look at this, guys. This looks very similar. This whole little situation right here looks very similar to the last time we got down here. And even similar to the last time we got down here before that. And even before that. So these are Chad calls these, what does he call them? Congress or boardrooms. These are like these little areas where we have these levels. And we've done this a few times here. And we shot up. Then we did it again, shot up, did it again, shot up, doing it again. A lot of people will look at that and say, well, then we must be shooting up then. Why are you short? Because the trend is your friend until the end, and we are getting closer and closer and closer to the major support. And I don't know if we're going to shoot up and then come back down and hit the major support later, or we're going to do it now. Coming into August, if I just keep this trend out like this, how much longer until we hit the 112? Does it really need to do this? Boom. Or can it just go like this? Can it just go boom? Sooner rather than later. But since I don't have a crystal ball, I'm watching it closely. Where's my oh, because I'm on USDT. I was wondering why it's not showing my entry. So, you know, I did say that this was possibly a bear flag also, and it could be breaking to the downside. It looks like it might be trying, but then again, we have all these little wicks, so I'm not overly concerned about it. But what I will probably do is I will put my stop loss in profit at 115, 145 for the time being, just in case I forget to look here in a few minutes. 115, 145. That is in profit on the inside of my entry. So I cannot lose no matter what on this trade. I could move it down here and I could just close the trade out and scalp a $370, $380 scalp, but I'm staying in it in case it continues to drop. I mean, I could move my stop loss down here and lock it in because as long as it keeps going down, I'll be okay. But if it comes back up, I'll just take 300 bucks. And that's fine with me. Again, it's Bitcoin. I'm accumulating. I'm trading on a Bitcoin margin. So my goal is to continue to accumulate more of it. But maybe I'll do that just for the hell of it. I'll just move it down a little bit more. 114. 857. Any other questions while we're doing that? Thank you, Ed. Got OTA, was it worth it? Well, I mean, I learned a lot. I did learn a lot from OTA, but it was very expensive, guys. Their OTA is like 30 grand, $30,000, and I think it's like 12 weeks of coaching. I mean, it's you're going in person in classroom. You have traders over your shoulder telling you what to do. So it is a different kind of learning experience. But I would say that for a fraction of the cost of OTA, you guys are getting way more attention, way more training and teaching in here than you would ever get in OTA.
Way more.
Way more. And they're basically just stock market, options, things like that. Once you learn technical analysis, though, once you understand the charts, guys, you can trade anything. It doesn't matter what it is. Thank you, Ed. Appreciate it. All right. All right. What else we got? ETH. We were just looking at ETH a minute ago. It looks like this. Downward trending. Same thing. I basically said you should probably wait for it to hit support before you enter any kind of position here. It looks like right here at 35.29 would be the next major support. We have this line here for a reason. We broke through it, support, 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 climb, support, climb. Every time we dropped, we broke the upward trending support. We dropped through, retested, hit the floor. This is the floor. Climbed all the way back up, hit the ceiling, broke the upward trending support, retested, made another run for it, retested, but never got higher, dropped to the floor. So what we're waiting for is a breakout of this downward trending channel here. A couple ways to look at it. You can look at it like that or like this. Either way, it's downward trending. So I would wait for a breakout. It's either going to break, it's either going to come down here and break out to the upside here. This would be your entry point here or here on the breakout. Very similar to this when we hit a top and we come down and we break out. We hit the bottom, hit the top, double bottom, break out, retest. Anytime you hit a major resistance level and you trend down, you want to wait for the breakout and retest. Breakout, retest. The only time you would not go long here, first you wait for the breakout to the upside, holding support, retest, and then you go long. The only time you wouldn't is if.
What time frame do you want to look at the retest in?
I mean, I'm on the 10-minute time frame right now. I mean, you're not sitting there waiting for an hour for the candlestick to change. You can kind of get a better idea, and it's not too low, but the only time you wouldn't go long on this breakout is if it broke to the downside instead. And as you can see, a couple times it wicked below, sucked right back up. Wicked below, sucked right back up. So if it does go below that line, which is the 35, I don't know, 35.30, 35.33, something like that. If it does go below that line, you want to wait for it to bounce as resistance and then come down lower than where it broke out. See this one right here? This one wick down to here. You would not go short just because it's below that red line. You want to wait for it to not be able to get back above the red line. And then if it doesn't get back above the red line, it starts to come back down again, you still wait until it's lower than here where it first broke out. There's a reason for that, because a lot of times it'll break out like this one. It'll break out and then come back up and just suck right back up above it. And you don't want to be short. But if it comes down and comes back up and then starts to come down again, but it doesn't get further than where it first broke out, then that is just a low and then a higher low. And then this comes back up, makes a higher high, a low, higher low, higher high, higher low. And before you know it, that's just a trend reversal. This is downward trend reversal to the upside. So be careful there. That's why patience, sitting on your hands and waiting sometimes is always helpful. So don't be so anxious to jump in just because it's moving. It's usually not the best time. And the market makers know this, professional traders know this, amateurs don't know this. The amateurs are anxious, they want to catch the falling knives, they want to jump in as soon as there's a move, and those are the ones that usually get whacked quickly. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Sometimes it's just the price of education. I call them seminars.
Hey, Nico, quick question on that. Do you trade with like sub accounts, or do you actually trade with the actual coin? Because you're probably in multiple trades, right, with different coins.
Yep. I got probably 10 sub accounts. If I'm going to do a trade that I think is long-term swing trade, or I think it's going to stay in for months, like let's say I think that this is the top of the market and I want to short and ride Bitcoin all the way down, I might go short in a sub account with a small amount of money at low leverage and without even a stop loss. I'm not telling you guys to do this, but I've done it before, because if I'm right, then I can, once it breaks a certain level and I know that we're going to go down, I will put a stop loss in and add to my contracts. But if it's still consolidating and it's still just doing this, I want to give it room so I don't get stopped out right here. I want to give it room to do this before it finally goes into a bear market, let's just say, right? But I also don't want to do that. I don't want to give it room with a lot of money, because then you go really negative here, back to positive here, really negative here, back to positive here. And that is stressful and that's nail biting, right? So, but if I'm going to do that, it's in a sub account with a smaller amount. The reason why smaller amount, because if I go with a small amount here and I go short and it goes all the way up here, I'm negative, but I'm negative not a lot of money. And my liquidation is very far away. So I'm not worried about getting liquidated. But if it finally does come down and break out like this, it finally breaks out to the downside, and I know for sure that we're no longer in this sideways channel and we're finally breaking to the downside, then here I can add more contracts and increase my leverage. But I don't do it when I first take the trade, because I'm unsure of the direction. I might be sure that it's going to go down, but maybe that my timing is way off. Maybe it's not going to do that for weeks or months. Maybe I got 3 more months before it finally goes into a bear market, right? So there's no sense of me preparing for a bear market right now.
What would be the benefit of that versus waiting until you are sure?
There would be no benefit,
Okay.
except for The last time I did that, where I went short in anticipation of the bear market, is when we were at 112, when I actually thought that was the top. Or possibly the top. I didn't know for sure. I didn't say that it was for sure. But there was a lot of other indicators on Bitcoin telling me that the top might be in. I was wrong, but there was a lot of indicators saying that that could be the case. So just in case, this was back here when we were hitting 112, right here. I was thinking we were going to come down, and if we got below 70K, if we got below the 68, 70K range, actually, that's not the one I'm talking about. It was back here. When we were in this falling wedge, I was shorting this, making a lot of money on the shorts, and it was coming down, and I was waiting for it to come down and retest the 68 to 70K zone, which was the previous all-time high. Right here. And I was telling everybody in the group that if it breaks below this, if it breaks below 73K and it gets below 70, 70 is the magic number. If we break below 70 and hold as resistance here, this could be the beginning of the end. I was saying that back then. I was wrong. Chad was given long signals right here, and it did break out to the upside, and we did go up. And I ultimately cut my loss right here and then reversed my position and made that loss back. But from here to here, I was averaging like 10 grand a day on shorts. Every time it hit the top, I'd short it, hit the top, I'd short it, hit the top, I'd short it, hit the top, I'd short it. And it hit the top here and I shorted it and it kept going. That was the musical chairs I was talking about, guys. That can happen, right? So you just got to make sure you have stop losses in place, because you're not going to always be right if you're just going to continue to do that. There is going to be a breakout. The question is, and the reason why I did it here again is because I did not think that was the bottom, because it only hit 74.5 and the previous high was 73.8. It was close, but not close enough for me. I thought maybe we were going to double bottom, triple, come up here and then come down and just go a little bit lower, wick down below it into the 68, 70K zone. And then if that happened, I would have went long. But also if it would have wicked down to 70 and then hit this as resistance and bounced and did not get back above it, I would have been ready to short into the bear market. And even to this day, guys, as long as we stay above 70K, this line right here is the magic line, 70K. If we get below 70K, and you might be thinking, oh, that's far off. There's no way that's going to happen.
Can you run a long and a short on the same trade?
Yes. That's called arbitrage, and it's risky. You got to know what you're doing. Get on the basics call. Bill can walk you through it. There's some other members in this group that are mastering that, have mastered that. Basically, what you're doing is you can only do it on USDT. You can't do it on a Bitcoin margin. You can go long and short at the same time. Just keep in mind that if you go long and short at the exact same time, and it goes in either direction, you will be profitable in one trade and you will equally be negative in the other. Okay, so how long can you sustain that situation? Okay, so you will have to cut either the loss or take the profit on the gain sooner or later. So you're either going to ride the gain up to resistance. Bitcoin just hit my stop loss that I put in profit at $300. But you're either going to ride it up. So let's say you did that exact same thing. You went long and short, and it broke to the upside in your long position. You're either going to take profit here when it hits the previous all-time high, and then it bounces and comes down, and you stay in your negative position. You stay in the negative position until it comes down and makes you profitable. Or you go long and short at the same time. As soon as it starts to go into profit, starts to go the one direction, you close out the other one and you ride that one up. And if it goes the other way instead, you close out this one and ride this one down. But what some people do is, what some people do is they go long and short at the same time, and they stay in both of them. So this one is going negative at a rate of this one going positive. And let's just say you get to $1,000 profit on this one. You're also $1,000 negative on this one if you went long or short with the exact same amount, right? You would be $1,000 profit, $1,000 negative. So if you close them both at the same time, you're just breaking even. It's a waste of time. So what you would do is when this one hit a major resistance level, you would close it out and take the profit. And you would be hoping at this point that this would bounce and come back down, making your negative trade less and less negative until you get back down to break even, right? And then you could either wait for that to go into profit, and then as soon as it gets to break even, you also go long. But if it continues down, you're going to go profitable on your short. You're going to go negative on your new long. And then as soon as this hits support, you close that short out and you ride this back up until your long is profitable again. That is a game, guys. That is a game of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And yes, it can work. As long as you have the money to pay Paul, you can continue to do that game and no one will be the wiser. But, you know, one of these days you're going to pay the piper on that one. It is risky. You got to know how to do it. Because what if you do this and you do that strategy where you stay in the short, even though you're long, and the long is going up, up, up. Let's just say it just goes parabolic and it doesn't stop here and you stay in it. Or you get out here, take your $1,000 profit and it just keeps going up. Now your in short position is going worse and worse negative. You're going to eventually either be liquidated or you're going to have to close it out as a loss and you're going to give back all the profit you made on that long. But let's say you don't close it out and you just stay long. Okay, you're 5,000, 10,000 profit, 20,000 profit, but your other position is now 10,000, 20,000 negative. That can only happen for so long until that position gets liquidated. Now, if the short position gets liquidated and it closes out and you take a $20,000 loss on that, it's okay because you're up 20,000 on this one. So you're kind of breaking even. But are you making money? No. So me personally, I know how to do it. I just don't. I think it's a waste of time. Now, I have done it even recently, but I only hold the one that goes negative for a very low period of time. I do not hold it for long. So I might go long and short if I'm undecisive. And then as soon as it makes its decision and does one direction or the other, breaking it either, but it also has to be a proper trade setup, guys. So it has to be a situation where we're in an apex and we're waiting for the breakout. And I don't want to wait for the breakout. So I just go long and short. And then when it breaks to the upside of the apex, I close out the short position. If it breaks to the downside, I just close out the long position. But I have the best entry for the direction that it eventually goes into. So don't worry about all these drawings here if you can't see it. I was just giving examples. These are all, it's all doesn't make sense, I know, but hopefully that makes sense to you. But there are guys in the group, I think John Larson and some others that do it regularly, successfully. Even TJ, I think, was doing it for a while.
Bill just got to be careful, very careful. It's easy to get over your head, and lose money. The fees are always there. So you go 100% one way, 100% the other way. You're never exactly at the same dollar amount. So you're already starting at a loss, and then there's fees. So it's just complicated.
Yeah, it's doable, and it is possible to get out of it without any damage, but it's just more risk, guys. You might think it's less risk, right? Because if it's going one direction and you're going negative in the other direction, at least you're positive in the one direction. Logically, it sounds like it's protecting you, but you ultimately do have to close one of those positions out.
Technically, if you had enough money, you could ride both directions all the time in a hedged position and just double down the wrong way. You never lose. It's just you have to have enough money to play that game long enough.
Yeah. And I've said that before, guys. You can buy your way out of negative positions by padding your account, but only to the extent of how much money you have, like Bill just said. Just like rich people, if they can continue to bribe their way out of trouble, they'll stay out of trouble forever. But on this top trend line right here, guys, we broke through it. We did break through it for the first time in a long time. We hit the top here. We hit the top here. We might have hit the top here at the 108, 109, 112. We broke through it here, and we're coming down to retest. And that retest could bring us below the line, but maybe it won't. Maybe it's only bringing us to 114.5. Let's go lower time frame and see what it looks like here. That's this upward trend line, one of these here. We're hitting it now. That's this one right here. The yellow one. And we're kind of hitting it now. So this whole bull flag is above the yellow line and coming down to retest. And it's holding support. And this yellow line is the very top of the overall resistance line going all the way back to 2021. Boom, 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 boom. Breakthrough coming down to retest right now. So this bounce on that yellow line could be the best entry ever for the next parabolic move to the upside. I did say that it's possible that we come down and hit the 112, but we would need to break through. This is this green line down here is 112 right there. We could wick down to that and come back above this yellow line. But if we don't get below this yellow line, then that means we're staying on the top of that overall upward trending resistance line. We are above it. We got above it right here. We've been above it. We're coming down to retest. We're retesting it right here. So, and it's just kind of funny how it's just bouncing on it right now. And it hasn't really, it wicked below it a little bit, but it didn't hold below it. This wick up right here took me out. Took out my I moved my stop loss into profit and took me out there. Remember, I said I'll stay in it if it just keeps going down, but it was stop loss hunting right here. Just wicked right up and got me. Sun Evel ask 75K. What are the chances of that still in this bull run? There are some people out there, guys, that think that a major crash is coming. Not just for crypto, but stock market and everything. With everything that's going on with Powell and Trump and all the, the tariffs and all that stuff, everything seems to be okay. Everything seems to be working out, but Powell is not stupid either, even though Trump and everybody making him sound like he is. But he could also be playing for a different team. And is the economy bad? Is there inflation? Are the job numbers looking good? I'm pretty sure that we got record job. We do got a lot of job loss, right? We do got a lot of unemployment. We got some strange numbers out there. Everything seems okay on the surface, but there's something weird going on. I mean, we have record all-time highs in Bitcoin and billionaires and billion-dollar companies buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of it every month, and the price doesn't seem to go up any higher. What the hell's going on there? Other than an equal amount being sold. We also have 10 wallets that were dormant for a decade, each with $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in them, that just now came active over the last few weeks and have started transferring Bitcoin out. What does that tell you? $10 billion wallets, all moving Bitcoin to exchanges from their wallets, from their dormant wallets. Do you think that they're doing that to buy more or to sell?
To lock in their $1 billion.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, if you went from $7,000 investment in 2009 to $1 billion, because that's what it is, they turned $7,000 into $1 billion. 10 wallets, all coming online at the same time. Do these people know each other? Are these the creators of Bitcoin? Is this the Satoshi Nakamoto clan? Is this the group? All of a sudden, we hit a certain number, 120,000 for Bitcoin, and all of a sudden these wallets are no longer asleep. by the way, these wallets have been known about for a long time, for a decade, and everybody's wondering who's got the $1 billion sitting there and they're not doing anything. Maybe these were wallets that people bought Bitcoin in and just lost their key and couldn't, can't access it. So everybody thought these wallets were just maybe the lost Bitcoin, but we see them, we see the money sitting there, but nothing's happening for a decade. You either have serious diamond hands. I mean, think about this, guys. If you had invested $7,000 in 2009, would you have pulled any crypto out or any profits out at $5 million, $10 million, $20 million, $50 million, $100 million, $200 million, $500 million? When would you finally take profits? These people didn't touch their wallets until they hit $1 billion. Did they know something? Did they know for sure that it was going to just keep going? And do they know something now that we don't know? You gotta, I mean, I think I'm very open-minded, guys. I like to look at things from all angles. And Kimberly says, nah, they're probably just borrowing against it, maybe. Or time to take profits, or they know something. I don't know. These could be the founders, the creators, just Russian oligarchs, billionaires, people in the inside. But generally speaking, it wasn't just one wallet, guys. It was 10, and they each had $1 billion in it. And we're talking about moving not just a little bit of Bitcoin from their wallet to the exchanges, but all of it in increments of like 80,000 Bitcoin at a time. Ridiculous, guys. It's strange. It's strange. And then you see people like Michael Saylor buying $1 billion worth of Bitcoin, but the price doesn't go up at all. What's going on? Yes, Sergio. People are paying with $1 billion like it's 20 bucks, or $1 million like it's 20 bucks to the common person. That's correct. When you get to that level, it's not. We look at some people like, oh, you got $200 million yacht. That's crazy. $50 million painting from Sotheby's. That's nuts. Who in their right mind? These people are idiots. Are they? Or maybe they just know some things. Maybe
I
they
don't mind billionaires being billionaires, but if their employees can't afford dental insurance, I have a problem. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? That's just human nature.
Yep. No, Jeff Bezos, he wasn't profitable technically for the first, I think, 10 years of Amazon. He didn't take any profit. Now he's spending like a freaking drunken sailor, but he's not even spending profits. He's spending borrowed money that he borrowed against the stock portfolio. Tax-free. Anyway,
even more incentive to take care of his people. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
It doesn't even make sense at that point. He doesn't need the money. He's not living on the money. He thinks a little bit could go back, a little bit. I've been in an Amazon warehouse. It's a mess.
Yeah, I don't really know the numbers or the details of what people get paid or what their benefits packages are or anything like that. I'm sure he could afford to improve that a little bit. There's definitely, and that's a different kind of profit situation. I remember when I had a call center and I had 150 employees, which is nothing, not even a flea on a dog compared to Jeff Bezos or any of these multi-billion-dollar companies. But I remember that the difference from me going negative in a month and me making profit in a month was so close. The margins were so close. People would say the same thing to me, like, "Oh, you should give us raises. You drive a Mercedes and you make a lot of money." I'm like,
that's a different level.
Idea. They don't have any idea.
That's a different level. Yeah, that's a different level. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because you give one person a raise, you got to raise everybody, and that could be an extra $9,000 or $10,000 a week on payroll, and that $9,000 or $10,000 a week is $40,000 a month, and that $40,000 a month is exactly how much I would go negative that month if I did that. And people like, not as opposed to me making 40 grand, but as opposed to breaking even. So a lot of people just think that companies can just pay people more, but there's you're either profitable or you're not. But these hugely profitable companies, yeah, there's something wrong with that if people are on welfare who work for them.
Like Walmart is a good example.
Yeah.
And it's, the stockholders make their money. They get their payments, but see, I don't know, it just seems
Yeah.
it seems at some point that that it isn't exactly the way it should be.
I agree. So the way I look at it also is you can either be the person crying about the problem, and I'm not suggesting we are. I'm talking about like you can either be the advocate for the working class, or you can do that and also become rich and figure
Yeah,
out
that's
how
the
to
goal.
escape that problem. And I see one of the problems is people wanting to work for McDonald's and then also wanting to make a lot of money doing it. And those lower level paying jobs,
Right.
nothing wrong with them. We all need to work. And I think they're good for, people who are just starting in the workforce, young kids, teenagers, things like that, their first job to get experience and things like that. But you're not, if you're going to be a cashier at McDonald's, then there's got to be a limit for the pay. If you're not providing any more valuable service to the company, why should they give you a raise when they can just hire someone else that will accept the lower wage? So looking at it from an employer's perspective, I understand both viewpoints. From the person who's not getting paid enough, I would go get another job or figure out how you can provide more value to the company, become a manager, give some ideas, become more valuable so that they can pay you more. Because the truth is, guys, is if you're a W-2 wage earner and you get paid for, you work for a company, and whether you're 1099 or W-2, it doesn't matter. But if you work for a company and you're providing a service or you're selling something, let's say you're a producer, you sell Kirby vacuum cleaners, or you go door to door selling solar, whatever it is. You're never going to get paid what you're worth. They have to pay you less than what you're earning or bringing into the company. Because if they don't, they will not make a profit and they will go out of business. So the company will always pay you less than what you're worth, and you have to agree to that. And if you don't agree to that, you need to go be more valuable and, control your own purse strings. And as simple as it sounds, it may sound harsh, it may sound cold. It's not. It's just economics. It's just the way it is. Companies cannot pay everybody what they're worth. Otherwise, the company would not make any profit and there would be no purpose for them to be in business. They're only in business to make a profit in most cases. So you have to agree that to the salary or the wage or the commission, and the commission and the salary or the wage is going to be less than what you're bringing in. You sell something worth $100 and you get a 10% commission. They have to do it that way because if they gave you 100% commission, they wouldn't be in business, right? So anyway, with all that being said, guys, just become more valuable or create your own economy. Either start your own business or learn how to trade like what we're teaching you here so that you can make more money than you can make what you're worth, rather. I shouldn't say more than what you're worth. You probably never will make more than what you're worth. There's probably some people out there getting paid more than they're worth. You see these CEOs with $14 million packages and things like that from the companies, but they must have done something for that. They must have brought in a lot of money for the shareholders for that. They may not look valuable to the employees, but they did something for somebody to get that bonus. And that's usually how it works. But listen, I've been out of the workforce for so long. I can't even imagine having to go back to work again. So for somebody else, that is, I work hard every day, but I wouldn't be able to do it for someone else. So I think I'm unemployable at this point. I hope y'all get to that point if you're not there yet, but guys, onboarding in 10 minutes with Bill. The link is not only the link is in the chat here. Bill just posted it. It's also in, let me just show you. It is also in the Discord group on the main chat, trade chat. It's right there. He just posted it. And it's also in the announcements channel right here. He just posted it. So we post this everywhere. It's the same thing I do with these calls that we're on right now. I posted in the announcements channel, I posted in the trade chat, and I posted in the signals channel to make sure that you guys don't miss anything. But what I'm seeing right now, guys, is we are in this downward trending flag. We are bouncing on what was resistance, this yellow line. We are bouncing on it as support, and we are coming very close to the previous resistance. And I think that it's possible that we could wick down to that. But if we hold here on this yellow line, which is the 114, if we hold at 114, and we start to climb up, this could be the big break to the upside. If we wick down to 112, that would be a great entry to go long. I don't think we're going to go below that, but I think we would bounce there. What I would do is go long on the bounce, put a stop loss pretty tight, maybe at 111, 111.5, because if we do continue to drop below 112, that might be the beginning of a much bigger dip before the big breakout. But things are moving kind of slow right now going to the weekend. And we're still just slowly trending down. But you see these times when we get down here and bounce on this, sometimes it takes 3 or 4 days before we climb out. 3 or 4 days before we climb out. We just got here yesterday and could take another day before we climb out. And or we might not climb out. This is the trend. The trend is we come down here and then we climb out. And the trend is your friend until the end. But notice one thing, this yellow line did not touch here or here. We still had a ways to go, and now we're hitting it. And that yellow line is this yellow line right here, going all the way back to 2025 all-time highs right here. Boom, boom, boom. Resistance, bear market, come all the way back up, hit it again, 108, 109, big dump, come all the way back up, hit it again, 112, big dump, come all the way back up through it here. We went through it. Bull flag and retesting. Right now we're bouncing on it. That's pretty interesting to me. That could be the best entry right there for a big bounce out to the upside. And if we do break out, we are going up to the 129 to 130 zone. That's what I'm waiting for here. But if we break below this yellow line and come all the way down to the 112, which is the previous resistance, which is very possible. That's what's happened every other time. Resistance, breakout, support. Breakout, resistance. This resistance, breakout, support. This is the only time we haven't hit it yet, which is 112. Haven't hit it yet. But if we don't hit it, it's because of this yellow line. It's because we're holding support above that already. And that's a breakout of the overall upward trending resistance structure. And that could mean a parabolic move to the upside is coming. So stay tuned in, guys. I will give you any other last minute questions before we go. I will definitely be paying attention to this all week. Precious, I am totally working on that, being above employed. I remember talking to you last night. You're a nurse. We appreciate your work there, but yeah, it's a stressful job. So hopefully we can get you making a lot of money here so you can decide whether you want to continue doing that or not. Nico, is this way you call swing trade versus daily trade? So you wait for gains. Scalping is very quick in and out, minutes, hours, or a day. Swing trading is more longer term. It could be days, a week, or a couple weeks. Long term swings or long term holding trades are where you're in it for months at a time.
So typically, being that Bitcoin leads the market, I'm assuming that all altcoins follow.
Most of them correlate with Bitcoin until they break correlation, and that is what people call altcoin season. So does that mean that they're all going to break correlation? No. Sometimes there might not be an altcoin season. That is possible. There could be a market or a bull market or a bear market where there is just 100% correlation, where everything just follows Bitcoin around. Bitcoin tends to be the tide that rises all boats until Bitcoin loses dominance, which it is right now, losing dominance. And then there's usually altcoin season where these mid caps and micro caps take off, right? And so get on Bill's calls and Chad's calls for those, because they're paying attention to that. They're definitely ready for that. Chad talks about Bitcoin's overall market cap and the overall crypto market cap, excluding Bitcoin. I talked about that. In fact, let me just show you real quick while we're here. I'll just show it to you real quick here. Let's go back to here. Let's go over here. We'll go to crypto. market cap excluding Bitcoin right here. Okay. This is it right here. Talking about this a couple weeks ago. We are in an apex. We got the top back here and we just hit it here, guys. Boom, boom. And we're coming up this upward trending, major long-term upward trending support. This is all of crypto, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's one that's just excluding Bitcoin as well. But as you can see, we're hitting it. We're coming to an apex. When this breaks out, guys, this is huge for altcoins. We could see a pump all the way up to the 1.9 trillion right around here. That is huge pump to the upside. We've seen it several times along the way, but that would be anywhere from a 2x to 10x for some of these altcoins. But stay tuned in to the group. Stay tuned in the chat. It's called Ask Him About the total market cap on altcoins excluding Bitcoin. He'll go over it as well on his call, and he's more in tune to the altcoins. And yeah, it usually goes like this, guys. This is how it usually works. Bitcoin goes up, 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 and then once it's reached its top and starts to come down, losing dominance, altcoin season takes off, and we have a all-time high for altcoins. They start to come down, and then micro caps take off. These are the really tiny cryptos that are ICOs, the ones that are kind of new to the marketplace. So we have Bitcoin dominance, all-time high. Let's just say we're at it right now. I don't know if we are or not, but let's say it's 123. Bitcoin starts to come down, altcoins take off. Altcoins start to come down, micro caps take off. It's like waves, comes in waves. All right, guys, I gotta run. We're gonna 2 minutes for the onboarding call. Make sure you guys get on that, especially if you're brand new. And just stay tuned in. Make sure you turn on the notifications for the Discord group for all of the trade signals channels so that you get notified whenever there is a trade signal. I think we could be very close to both of those things happening, by the way, Marcus. We could be very close to either Bitcoin dropping and altcoin season taking off, or Bitcoin going to the moon for its last push to the upside, one or the other, right? As you can see right now, it does look like it might be breaking below this yellow line. It did that here, broke back above, did it here, broke back above. It's doing it right now. I mean, it is possible that the line is not in the exact precise spot that it's supposed to be, but it's close. So I'm keeping an eye on this. And if we break below that, we're coming to 112. But I'll let everybody know in the chat. But if you guys happen to pay attention and you see this coming to 112, get ready to go long on 112 on Bitcoin. Okay, even if you don't see a signal from me, I would go long on that bounce and just put a tight stop loss underneath at 111.5 in case I'm missing an action or something. All right, but I will be paying attention. That's what I'll be doing as soon as I see it.
Thanks, sir.
All right, guys. Yes, sir. Have a great rest of your afternoon, guys. If you're brand new, get on the onboarding. The link is in the chat, and just stay positive, stay tuned in. If you're new, relatively new, go through the training material, get on these live calls. You didn't miss anything. There's still going to be lots of upside and lots of downside coming. Bear markets are just as profitable as bull markets, so don't worry about that. It's all just a matter of which direction we're trading in. And one thing I will tell you this is that the only people that do not make money in a bear market are hodlers. Hodlers lose if they continue to hold. They lose the value of the coins because the coins will go down in value. But in our group, you can do both. You can hodl and short the market at the same time. Make more USDT or more Bitcoin or crypto on the way down.
Oh,
and
the
then
whiteboard?
once it bounces and climbs back up,
That's all we had.
then you just ride it back up at that point. You just go long. So anyway, guys, have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the chat, and have a good weekend. Talk to you later.
Thanks, you too.